The story of Africa will be incomplete without recognizing women that have made the African story a beautiful one to tell and encouraging other women to do same in their various fields. These women cut across the North, South, East, West, and Central Africa. Mothers of freedom and forerunners of women liberation and emancipation. They are warriors who have dominated their space and dared the space of men valiantly. Africa has given birth to beautiful women who have graced the continent and are gracing the continent with their achievements and success, even in the diaspora. CEO Africa applauds the African Union for setting aside July 31st every year to celebrate African women. African Women's Day was first celebrated on July 31st, 1962 by the African Union after the first Pan-African Women's Conference held in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. The theme of this year's celebration is the role of women in silencing the guns, enhancing women's participation in peacekeeping and conflict prevention in Africa. As women, let us come together and make our voices resound for a safer Africa.
I'm Bolanle Omolara Otegbayo. I'm proud to be an African woman. African women, we are strong. I like to call my fellow African women, be strong. You can make it. Be women of purpose. You can make it. Be visionary. You can make it. We are tired of seeing African women being undermined. African women, you are supposed to be on the top, and you'll be on the top. I've enjoyed and I'm a beneficiary of African women sponsorship, African women in agriculture research and development. And I'm not one of those men that are lost in the pipeline. I don't want you to be lost in the pipeline. African women, arise. I celebrate every African woman. Kudos.
My name is Okore Deborah, CEO of Bridge Global Travels and Tours Ibadan. I want to use this medium to celebrate all African women doing well in their various spheres of life. I am a proud African woman and I want to say you are the real VIP. Let's celebrate African women all over the world together. See you there.
Hello, my name is Louis W. Siawe, CEO and founder of Sewa Liberia. I'm here to let you know that we are celebrating African women, the resilient women of Africa, the role African women play, and the major challenges of African women. We want to say to all of our leaders and the women of Africa, when you educate a woman, you build a nation. When you put a woman in power, you have a sustainable development and peace. Women in conflict resolution is a win-win situation because women know how to negotiate. Women know how to reconcile. So reconciliation is very important in developing a nation. So women, we play a major role. All that we need is to have equal access, equal right, equal participation in electoral process. We also want to let you know that women as work and contribute a major part of our sustainable development in Africa. So when you give a woman a chance, like I said, we can rule the world, especially African women.
I am Professor Chinedu Peace Babalola, the Vice Chancellor of Chrisland University, Abeokuta. I'm a professor of pharmacy and an AU laureate. I am here to air my opinion on the African Union Day, which is being marked today with the theme of silencing the guns and the role of women in peacekeeping. The role of women begins with actually being a mother, whether young, middle-aged, or old. You might also not be a mother, but you're a woman. We have responsibility as African women to bring up children, whether biological or non-biological, to a state where they will be responsible men and women in our society. So as we mark today, as a woman, I want to take responsibility. And I want to say every African woman should take responsibility in ensuring that our young ones are well brought up. If children are well brought up from birth, given the right education, the right upbringing, moral upbringing, they will turn out to be responsible youths and adults. They will not turn out being gun carriers. So on a day like this, I want to encourage all women, as African women, to look at how to ensure that our youths, our children, are well brought up. If they are children under our roofs, biological or non-biological, we should teach them values, teach them do's and don'ts, teach them how to choose right, teach them to know the consequences of wrong choices as well as good choices.
I'm Dr. Mrs. Teresa Kadiri Wewe, the CEO, MD, Dr. Tess's Veterinary Hospitals Limited. This is a dream come true, unprecedented, first time this is happening in Nigeria, a dog hotel of such repute. Come July 31st, I'm celebrating the African woman. Join us as we celebrate.
My name is Jean Chiazo Anichere, President of African Women in Maritime, otherwise known as WOM Africa. I look forward to a future where African women will sit as decision makers towards resolving conflicts within and among African states for a peaceful and united Africa. Ubuntu.
We should encourage them to be educated, provide opportunities for them to be educated, provide opportunities for them to be empowered, to acquire skills that they can use to fend for themselves. A lot of people that are carrying guns have no jobs. They have no means of livelihood. A lot of them too didn't have any home upbringing. Some of them were born maybe by single women, and they are left to fend for themselves, and they are left to make bad choices. So as women, we should take responsibility in nurturing, mentoring, educating, empowering the young ones so that they make right choices. We should be involved in peacemaking. Women are peacemakers right from the home. In many places, even globally, a lot of people we see chosen to be peacemakers are usually men. I think African governments should begin to look at women and listen to them, add them to all those envoys that go to different countries as peacemakers. Women are able to understand what it means, what death means, because they carry children for 9 months. And many times in the time of war, women and children are vulnerable, highly vulnerable. So they understand it better and should be involved actively in peacemaking missions. Today, I single out Miss Tolulope Arotile, the 25-year-old that was an Air Force combatant officer who recently lost her life. That is an example of a young woman or single woman who participated actively in peacemaking. we should encourage more Tolulopes in Africa.
My name is Aji Abilamuse, CEO of Bumara Group of Company, President of Women in Maritime Nigeria Chapter. I want to seize this opportunity to congratulate all the African women on this year of African Union celebration of the Day of African Women. African women are women who are born, who live in, and who are from the continent of Africa. Thank you and happy celebration.
I'm Professor Obafuke Dendoye. I celebrate every African woman, every woman doing very well in their profession, in their business, in any chosen walk of life. You are all worthy to be celebrated. I welcome you to the celebration of every African woman on the 31st of July, 2020.
Women should be empowered. African Union has adopted a policy where women will be empowered to own and run their own businesses. Such programs should be extended to as many women as possible in Africa, because when you empower a woman financially, he will be able to empower young ones. If she will be able to employ young ones, she will be able to empower them, mentor them better than when they do not have resources to do so. So in a nutshell, there are 3 levels that women can play roles: in upbringing, mentoring, educating, empowering, from children level to adult level. Again, women should be supported to be part of peace-making missions. And thirdly, women should be empowered financially so that they can take care of themselves, their children, as well as other people's children. That way, the guns will be reduced, the crisis, the wars will be reduced. Thank you and happy Women's Day.
My name is Aino Adeogun, a professor of aquatic toxicology in the Department of Zoology, University of Ibadan, Nigeria. As we all know, today is the Day of the African Woman, as highlights designated by the African Union. And this day, the African Union recognizes the role of women in silencing the guns, because women have a vital role to play in enhancing peacekeeping and conflict prevention in Africa. As African women are strong, we are tenacious, and we are the builders of the continent. It is important to educate the women folk in Africa. An adage says, educate a woman and you educate a nation. More education, involvement in STEM programs, and enhancing the participation of women in STEM programs will go a long way in developing the African continent. Because of the great intuition that women have for problem solving, women are positioned to improve capacity building in Africa through training of the next generation of Africans. Africa is blessed with a huge youth population, and women are better positioned in giving the desired direction to this population of young Africans that are the future of Africa, with particular emphasis on the development of the girl child, the development of our children from before they are born. African women need to be in more position of authority to be able to bring this natural ability to train so that the next generation can benefit from the immense contribution of African women. African women are good at peace negotiation because right from a young age, you are taught how to manage communities. We are taught how to manage homes, manage communities. And when women manage communities, the nation is at peace. There is need for more inclusion of African women in governance because this helps to be able to give the right advice for peaceful coexistence of not only the black race, but the human race. We are all one. And throughout history, women that have been the head of nations and head of communities have been shown to perform exceptionally in these roles. The African Union and African head of states need to include more women in the governance of Africa so that Africa can live up to the dreams of which we are known as a black and proud continent.
My name is Eunice Ezeoke, Western Nigeria President. African women involvement and participation in conflict resolution is very essential and important. Firstly, nature and nurture has bestowed on women the role of builders, caretakers, and nurturers. They constitute more than half of every community, and women are major builders and home caretakers of the family in most African cultures. The family is the nucleus of the community, and when women are oppressed or excluded from conflict resolutions in the community, the conflict festers ad infinitum. For instance, Africa has had her share of conflicted areas such as in Somalia, Burundi, and Nigeria. Generally, the result of the conflicts are destabilization, displacement, destruction, and devastation. Women and children are mostly affected in these conflicts, and sadly, the trauma may last for a lifetime. How can African women play this important role? Firstly, by the formation of powerful advocacy for peace, the promotion of non-violence in peaceful negotiations. Secondly, inclusiveness in every level of peace committee up to the international and continental levels. Thirdly, as peacekeepers and relief aid workers in conflicted areas under the continental umbrella or coverage. Fourthly, as counselors to traumatized victims of conflict and educators on non-violent means of conflict resolution. Finally, participation in policy making and developing ways to avoid conflict by negotiation rather than conflict. Increase the number of women in uniform service in peacekeeping missions and national security services. Thank you.